they like view the aesthetics, how it looks, and make sure that user experience is nice. But when you talk about the backend engineers, they're the ones that make sure that once you click a button to do something on the website, that thing works. So I work in that team, and I've been doing that now for a year, and I'm so glad to come to this conference with you guys, and hopefully we can learn one or two from each other.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that information, Omotola. So, do you want to tell us about your journey to become a software engineer? Did you always know that you were going to become a software engineer?
Thank you, Aminat. So my journey into becoming a software engineer, when I finished secondary school, I studied here in Nigeria. I did my secondary school in El Amin. When I finished, I was actually meant to go into university for medicine. So, you know, normally you have to write your JAM and all of that stuff. So I wrote JAM a couple of times, and like I didn't quite meet the cut-off mark. So when I was waiting, I was just like doing my things on the side. I was writing on blogs and all of that stuff. And then I got curious about the blogs I was writing on, how to change them and all of that stuff. And so I started doing my research, and now found W3 schools where like I could do HTML and CSS, and that's where like my curiosity took me to. I started getting interested about how I can change this website, and that's how I decided that I didn't want to be a medical doctor anymore. I wanted to be a software engineer because I just thought it was very interesting. If I learned how to code, that means I was going to be able to build websites and build applications at the same time. So I did more research. I saw computer science. I think at the time they weren't doing like software engineering in Nigeria, and like computer science looked a bit boring. It just looked like they were just going to tell me theory, and I wanted something more practical. So I decided that I wanted to study software engineering. And luckily for me, we're in a position where I could go out of the country to go and study. So that's how I went out of the country, and I studied in the University of Salford for software engineering. 3 years at university, and I did 1 year placement, and that's how I started my coding journey. And then after school, I landed a job, which I'm currently doing now.
Oh wow, that's good. That's amazing. So, can you tell us what a day in your life is like as a software engineer? Like your day to day. Did you get my question?
Okay, thank you, Aminat. So, daily life of the software. Sorry.
I said, could you like run us through like?
Sorry, did you ask something else, or should I continue with this question?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so a day in the life of a software engineer. So in my company, what happens daily is, so let's start from the beginning of the week, right? On Monday, I have my manager, they send me like a Slack message, and they say, Omotola, this is your task for this week. So we use something called Jira, which is like a ticket management system. When I say tickets, they're just basically tasks that like the managers have kind of designed for each person on the team to do. So on a Monday morning or start of the week, the managers write a list of things that I'm meant to do, and then they send it to me, and I read through them. So depending on what the priority of those tasks are going to be, I start from the highest priority to the lowest priority tasks. And so let's just say I pick the first one, and I start working on that first one on Monday. If there's any issues, if I'm blocked, let's say there's another issue that I found with the ticket that I'm currently working on, I can either communicate that to my manager, or I can communicate that with another developer, and then both of us can like peer or work on it together. But at the end of the day, like it's just an iteration of trying to fix. I can either be fixing a bug, or I can be building a new feature, or I could be testing something. It's just depending on what I'm being given that week. And so once I've done that, I then so we use GitHub as well to like maintain what we're doing as developers. So after I finish building a feature or fixing a bug, I push it up to GitHub, and then other developers, they review what I've done. And then if it's fine, and then it's approved, I can merge into a different branch. If it's not, then they'll tell me that I need to fix something, and then I change that again. But then it's just a continuous thing of communicating with other developers, with my manager, making sure that like I'm doing what I need to do, and just communicating with everybody and working on the feature that you're being given. So that's like my daily life, more or less. And then we have meetings as well. We do meetings in the morning where we have a stand-up saying, okay, this is what we're going to be doing today. This is what we did yesterday. If there's anything that's kind of like blocking us from doing our job as well, then we have to communicate that. Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, did you guys hear the last thing I said?
Yes, I did. I heard you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, everyone.
We're hearing you.
Sorry, I cut off a bit. I don't know if you heard the last thing I said.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
All right. So today
So that's my normal day job.
All right. So today, I want them to ask the question. So everyone, if you have, raise your hands if you have a question that you would like to ask us.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because I want to give them time to ask questions today. They always have things to say. All right. Thank you. So the first person I'll be taking now is Maris Amadi. You can ask your question first, because and you can type your question in the chat box too. We might not be able to get everybody to speak.
Oh. Okay, so Omotola, I just wanted to ask, like, what challenges did you face? What were your challenges along the line? Because I knew, like, it's not going to be easy. So what challenges did you face?
Thank you, Maris, for asking that question. So when I started programming at first, I think one of my first challenges was thinking that I was not smart enough to do it. And partly because sometimes we were given like coding challenges, I'll see my other peers kind of like doing it in like a very quick time, while me, I'm still struggling. And then my lecturer wasn't really helpful as well. So that really kind of wasn't good for me, because I felt like, oh my gosh, like why is it taking me so long to do this thing while my mates, it's taking them longer, it's taking them a shorter period of time to do it. So there was that self-doubt, that thinking I couldn't do it. But like I got to understand that some of my mates, they started with this thing earlier than I did. So like I had to be patient with myself, and I just had to sit down, put my head down and learn as much as I could, and prove myself that I could do it by actually practicing, because that was literally the only way I could do it. So that was like one of the biggest challenges at the start. But when I started like seeing that I could actually do this because I practiced so much, then my confidence now came back.
Yeah, that's very important. It's important that you mentioned that, Omotola, we all struggle with self-doubt, thinking we can do it. And that's one of the most important things you can learn on this journey. Like, don't stop practicing. Practicing is very, very important. You have to keep practicing. And there's nobody that can tell you you can't do it except yourself. And like for everybody, the journey is not always smooth and all of that. But if you really do stuff, there is nothing you can do. So I'll take another question from Olamide Oladapo. Olamide, so please make it snappy so we can cook.
So, excuse me, Omotola, why is that you didn't want to become a software engineer?
Thank you, Olamide. So at the time when I decided I wanted to be a software engineer, I just thought if I become one, then it would be very flexible for me. So like I didn't want to be stuck in one industry. I wanted to have like the freedom to make my choices, the freedom to work in any industry that I wanted to do. So at first, that was the main motivation of wanting to study software engineering. And of course, like I thought creating and building stuff was really cool. So that as well. But the first one was the fact that I wanted freedom. Like right now, my company is in the UK, but I'm currently in Nigeria working. So that kind of thing, I really like it.
All right, there's a very important question here in the text box. Was there any issue you could do but you were not assigned to because you're a female? Like, how does that play out for you in your career? Like, being a female in the STEM field, how does that? Being a female,
How does that work?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear your question.
So I said, like, there's a question in the textbook that, was there anything you could do but you were not assigned to because you're a female? So I'm going to add to that. How does it work for you being a lady in STEM? Is there challenges that are unique to you because you're a female?
So like I've never been in a situation whereby I wasn't given work to do just because I'm a female. I think it's really important where, like, the spaces that you find yourself. I think if you find yourself in a place where people are not giving you work just because you're a female, you should take yourself out of there. In my career personally, no one has treated me differently just because I'm female. As long as I've been able to prove that I can do the work, I have been given work that I was meant to do. I think the only thing that has been weird in my career is every single time when I work and stuff or go for like hackathons and all of that stuff, I've been in the minority, which can feel very isolating, which can feel like, oh my gosh, I'm the only woman here and stuff like that. That's the only thing really. And like boys will be boys, they might do their own clique thing and you might be left out and all of that stuff. But like now, more and more women are like getting enlightened and they're coming into the industry. And hopefully the girls on this chat as well, you guys are so interested in this and you want to join us because we need you guys here. Thank you very much. But like that's really been the only thing. Don't take the fact that you're a woman on your head. Instead, focus on like that you have the skills to do the job and nobody's going to block you because you're a woman. So that's like more important, if that makes any sense.
That's very important that you said. Make sure you get the skills. You know what you're about. Very important. Thank you for that. Okay, so there's another question that if someone that struggles to understand mathematics, can you succeed in programming?
So like, depending on what you're doing, like for example, now my role as a backend engineer, I don't do any maths. Or like people that are doing maybe something data analytical or data analytics or stuff like that, you might need maths. So like in software engineering in general, there are different aspects that you can actually dive into. So you don't necessarily have to be good in maths to be able to code or learn how to program.
All right, let me take another call. I will take this from Ifeanyi Maduagu. Ifeanyi, so who is the person? I'm assuming the person who is not Ifeanyi.
No,
So.
Ifeanyi.
Okay, sorry. All right, is the person here? Is the person ready to ask your question?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. You can ask your question.
At what age did you realize that you wanted to become a software engineer?
I'll say quite late because I think I was about 18, 19 years old. That's when I realized I wanted to be a software engineer. So like, I don't know how old you are, but you're finding the truth for yourself early, which is really great.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
There is another question. Since you work in a company, are you allowed to do your own projects as long as you do tasks? Or how do you? I think the question is most partly, how do you balance blog and work and possibly personal projects?
So like, I do my own personal stuff outside of working hours. During the week, you work for just 40 hours. So I start by 8:30 to 5 o'clock. So anything after that, I can decide to work my own personal project. So I just set like a certain time. If after work, let's say after work by 5 o'clock, I want to chill for like 2 hours, then I can start something personal by like 8, like maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, depending on what I want to do, or even during the weekends as well. But then I make sure that I allocate a bit of time to learn and blog or create my content, and just separate those two things because I do enjoy doing both creating my content and doing other side things outside work. Or if you schedule time to do it, then you're fine.
Yeah, that's true. Balance is key.
Don't overwork yourself though, because at the end of the day, like life is not all about coding. You just have to know how to balance things, right?
Yeah, that is true. So I don't know if I mentioned it. Omotola's handle on Instagram, Twitter, and and YouTube is My Coding Habits. I'll drop that in the comment links. She drops tips for young girls like you guys, so you can check her out. I'll drop that in.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question.
All right.
Sure.
Do you have any
What's your question, Margaret?
talent? Do you have any talent based on parental guidance that you should not do it or you should do it?
So I was quite lucky. So my parents didn't really hinder me when I decided that I wanted to study software engineering instead. And like I mentioned, I was meant to do medicine. But once I realized that this is not really for me, I had to do a bit of convincing and letting them know that this is actually something that has a lot of potential. And because our parents might not understand, but I think if you explain to them the potential or even show them examples of people that are software engineers or computer scientists now, I'm sure that maybe they can change their minds. But in my own case, it wasn't a lot. I didn't need to convince them a lot. I just had to show that I've done my research and I showed them which schools currently I've taken the course I wanted to do. And then that's how I then started.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, hey, hold it on. Hold it, girls. There are people on the queue. So the next person on the queue that I'll be taking is Audrey Boudoir. Audrey, are you ready to speak? We're taking 2 more questions. Audrey, okay, she's not ready. So I'll be taking Bambose Emanuela. Emanuela?
Yes, ma.
Okay, you can ask your question.
Okay. When you started coding, did any of your mates support you or they were like boasting?
When I said coding, not really. So I think it was just like me and my family then, really. I just thing, and there were any friends around what this was, and most people were just all right, but there wasn't any the main support that I got back then was mostly from my family, and it was good enough for me at that point. But if you've got friends, family, even community as well, if you need more support when you're doing your coding journey, you should seek that out. And hopefully you have a group of people, or even this camp that you guys are currently on, just connect with people if you need that support. Don't hold back.
Yeah, don't hold back. Community is very important. So I'll be taking one question from Daniela. Daniela Seido. Daniela, are you on? Are you ready to ask a question? Okay, I think Daniela is not ready yet. So we'll be taking another one from Iben Sayaolu. I'm sorry, please, if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly. Iben. Okay, Iben is not ready. So the next person is Olamide Oladapo. Olamide, I can see you. Are you ready to ask now?
Sorry. Yes, I'm ready.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you, why exactly did you face any type of racism or stuff? Any type of racism when you were studying?
When I was studying, not really. I think the university I was studying, that people were very open. No one really was discriminating against me. It was pretty much straightforward. So no, I can't remember ever facing any crazy racism or anything. I think people are more aware about this stuff now. It does happen. I will not lie, but because the UK sometimes is a bit subtle. You might not even know that that's what's happening. But directly or bluntly, I've not really faced anything like that. But then if you do come in a situation where you face something like that and you take offense of it, you're in your right to thought that this thing that they said or this thing that you're doing is not right. And if they keep on doing it, then you take it higher to the next level, maybe your lecturers or any other person that is there. Even friends, call the person out, let them know that what they said or what they're doing is not right.
All right, so that would be all the questions. We're out of time.
Please, I have a question.
All right, please make it snappy. That's the last question. Make it snappy.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Did you have trouble adjusting to the system back in UK?
At first, yes, I did, because I was away from my family. All my family members were here, and it was just like me over in the UK. But what happened was that I got into church early, and when I started going to church, I met other people that were Nigerians there, and they were very nice to me. And from there, I just found a good group of friends, and they helped me just kind of settle down and get into the system. And from there, things just started getting better. So don't, like I said, UK can be very isolating, but you need to connect yourself like quickly to good people, not just anybody, good people. And from there, you find yourself that you're fine. But it wasn't hard because I found people early, and everything was all right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so do you have any concluding comment for the girls and for us?
I'm so glad to have this opportunity to speak to every one of you, and I'm so happy 73 of you guys are really interested in going into this field, and it makes my heart really joyful that I can see a lot of Black girls having interest in software engineering. It's not just software engineering, there's so many things that you can do. Even if you find out that you're not even into coding and stuff, but you still want to work in the tech industry, you can do UI, UX design, you can do other tech support or any other tech-related stuff. It doesn't have to necessarily be coding, but it's something that you can do and enjoy and have the freedom to build your own things, innovate. Nigeria right now, it needs a lot of innovation, a lot of things that you guys are going to be coming up with to build. So don't hold back, please. Whatever the situation is, please keep on learning, keep on practicing, put in the work. It is not magic. You literally have to put in the work in order to get to where you want to be. And I really wish each and every one of you luck. And of course, I think Aminat has sent my handles. So please don't be shy to send me a message. I'm always happy to talk to any of you guys about your own coding journeys and what you want to do with your careers and
The software engineering, is it based on the department you are?
Sorry?
What? The software engineering. Is it based on the department you are in school or what?
So software engineering. So software engineering itself is a course that I study at university, and we just learn coding concepts or programming languages to build stuff. So I don't know how it's structured here in Nigeria, but we have different courses in UK where you study a particular subject, and I study software engineering. So it's just a course. It's not a department. It's a course. So when I graduated with BSc software engineering. So I am now a software engineer, and my job is to. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. All right, we've come to the end.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. We have come to the end of the Meet and Expert session. Someone is asking for your handles. Okay, I'll post the handle again. It's the same handles on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So please do check her out. She posts very valuable content about lifestyles and software engineering. So now we've come to the end of the program. So make sure you thank you so much, Omotola, for coming. I don't know if I've said that. This has been a very enjoyable session with you, and we can't wait to have you for our program.